The Lister Jaguar XJS V12 represents a captivating and perhaps terrifying proposition for the automotive enthusiast. It blends the inherent luxury and smooth power of the standard Jaguar XJS with a significant injection of motorsport-inspired aggression and performance. This vehicle is not merely a trimmed-out version of the donor car. It is a comprehensively re-engineered machine, aiming to elevate the XJS from a grand touring coupe into a genuine supercar contender of its era. Prospective buyers must approach this acquisition with their eyes wide open, understanding the immense rewards and the equally immense financial and mechanical commitment required to maintain such a specialized automobile. This guide will meticulously dissect the Lister V12 XJS, providing an honest assessment of its strengths, its vulnerabilities, and the unique ownership realities associated with this low-volume, high-performance creation. Historical context is crucial when evaluating the Lister XJS. The base Jaguar XJS V12, particularly the later 5.3-litre and 6.0-litre variants, was already a powerful and technically complex car. Lister Cars, a company with a rich history in racing, took the proven, albeit often problematic, Jaguar platform and dramatically reworked key components. They focused primarily on the engine, suspension, aerodynamics, and braking systems. The most famous Lister conversions involved increasing the displacement of the venerable Jaguar V12 engine, typically from 5.3 litres up to 7.0 litres in the most potent iterations. This dramatic increase in capacity, coupled with significant internal modifications, delivered power outputs that were staggering for the time, often exceeding 500 horsepower. The good points of the Lister XJS V12 begin undeniably with performance. The acceleration provided by the 7-litre engine is visceral, pushing the relatively heavy XJS chassis with startling urgency. These cars were genuinely fast, capable of speeds well over 180 miles per hour. This placed them squarely alongside Ferrari and Lamborghini models of the 1980s and early 1990s. The torque delivery is immense, making cruising effortless and overtaking instantaneous. For those seeking the ultimate expression of the Jaguar V12 engine, the Lister version provides an unparalleled experience of brute force combined with surprising refinement at speed. The sound produced by the modified engine, often running through bespoke exhaust systems, is magnificent. It is a deep, resonant V12 roar that transforms the character of the car entirely. It is a sound that signifies serious intent and high engineering prowess. Aesthetic appeal is another positive aspect. Lister fitted aggressive aerodynamic enhancements, including massive rear wings, redesigned front air dams, and widened fender flares necessary to house larger, bespoke alloy wheels. These modifications give the XJS a muscular, purposeful stance that is a dramatic departure from the standard car's somewhat reserved, elegant lines. For collectors seeking visual drama and rarity, the Lister commands attention wherever it goes. The interior modifications, often featuring custom leather upholstery, specific badging, and sometimes performance-oriented instrumentation, enhance the feeling of exclusivity and specialized quality. The exclusivity itself is a major draw, as production numbers were exceptionally low. This ensures that encountering another Lister XJS V12 on the road is highly improbable. This rarity provides a significant cachet in the collector car market. Now, we must transition into the crucial area of bad points and ownership challenges, which are numerous and substantial. The primary area of concern is always the engine, specifically the reliability and complexity inherent in increasing a production engine displacement and power output so drastically. While the original Jaguar V12 engine architecture is robust, the Lister modifications push the thermal and mechanical limits significantly. Cooling is perhaps the single largest vulnerability. The standard Jaguar XJS V12 is notoriously sensitive to cooling system deficiencies, and introducing a 7-litre engine generating far more heat exacerbates these issues exponentially. Lister installations required heavy-duty radiator setups, often bespoke oil coolers, and intricate airflow management. Failure of any component in this highly stressed system can lead to catastrophic engine damage, requiring massive financial outlay for repairs. Buyers must meticulously inspect the entire cooling system, looking for evidence of overheating, leaks, or poor quality repairs. If the car is not maintained strictly according to specialist standards, thermal issues are almost guaranteed. Fuel consumption is nothing short of abysmal. Even in standard 5.3-litre form, the XJS V12 is a thirsty engine. The 7-litre Lister conversion demands prodigious amounts of high-octane fuel. Expect single-digit miles per gallon figures in spirited driving, and perhaps slightly better in gentle highway cruising. The running cost implications extend beyond just fuel, as the engine demands premium synthetic oils and frequent, expensive tune-ups. Mechanical complexity and parts availability pose another major hurdle. While many components of the Lister XJS are shared with the standard Jaguar, the performance-critical parts are Lister-specific. These include the customized cylinder heads, crankshafts, specialized pistons, and unique intake manifolds. These parts are often impossible to source new and require highly skilled machining or fabrication if they fail. Finding mechanics capable of correctly diagnosing and repairing a Lister 7-liter engine is challenging, requiring specialist knowledge far beyond that of a standard independent Jaguar repair facility. Maintenance schedules must be adhered to religiously, and any deferred maintenance will quickly multiply costs. The Lister power output necessitated significant upgrades to the drivetrain, including specialized gearboxes, often heavily reinforced automatic transmissions or rare manual Getrag units. The standard XJS transmissions struggle with the high torque, leading to premature wear if the car has been driven hard without proper maintenance. Inspecting the transmission for smooth shifts, fluid condition, and any signs of slipping or hesitation is essential. Differential units were also strengthened, but they remain vulnerable points, especially the often complex inboard rear brake setup common to the XJS platform. Accessing and repairing the inboard brakes and related differential seals is notoriously labor-intensive and expensive. Moving beyond the drivetrain, the chassis and suspension modifications implemented by Lister were necessary but introduced their own maintenance complications. Lister fitted performance-oriented springs, dampers, and revised anti-roll bars, providing significantly sharper handling than the relaxed factory setup. However, these components also experience high stress and wear. The specialized dampers may require rebuilding by a niche provider, a process that is costly and time-consuming. The enhanced performance also places greater strain on all suspension bushings and mounting points, leading to faster deterioration. A thorough inspection for play in the suspension, worn bushings, and integrity of the modified subframes is paramount. Braking performance was improved using larger discs and specialized calipers, typically providing the necessary stopping power to match the increased speed potential. However, these high-performance brake components can lead to extremely high servicing costs. The specialized pads and rotors are expensive, and the complexity of accessing components, especially the rear inboard brakes mentioned earlier, means brake servicing is a massive expense compared to most contemporary performance cars. Ensure the brake lines are in excellent condition, as the age of the base vehicle makes rubber hoses susceptible to degradation. Structural integrity and rust are concerns inherited directly from the standard XJS platform. While Lister focused on performance, they did not fundamentally alter the body structure inherent vulnerability to corrosion. Key areas to inspect for rust include the sills, the wheel arches, the boot floor, the base of the windscreen, and crucially, the mounting points for the rear suspension and subframe. Because the Lister cars were often subjected to high speeds and perhaps harsher driving conditions, structural stresses might have accelerated fatigue in vulnerable areas. A professional inspection by a body specialist knowledgeable about XJS corrosion patterns is mandatory, especially since extensive aerodynamic panels might conceal underlying structural issues. The bespoke aerodynamic body kit components, while visually striking, are often fabricated from fiberglass or composite materials. If these panels are damaged, sourcing replacements is extremely difficult, usually requiring custom fabrication or locating rare stock held by specialized restorers. Assessing the quality of previous body repairs is vital, as poor composite work can manifest as bubbling, cracking, or alignment issues over time. The fit and finish of Lister body kits varied somewhat depending on the specific period and the subsequent care the vehicle received. Electrical systems remain the perennial nightmare of the XJS owner. The Lister modifications typically involve integrating sophisticated electronic engine management systems to control the highly tuned V12. While these systems are essential for performance, they add layers of complexity to an already fragile wiring harness. Vacuum lines, sensor wiring, and relay boxes in the XJS are prone to failure due to age, heat cycling, and environmental exposure. Troubleshooting electrical faults in a standard XJS is difficult. Troubleshooting them in a custom-tuned Lister V12 requires specialized diagnostic equipment and intimate knowledge of the specific Lister engine control unit setup. Potential buyers should test every electronic component, including windows, climate control, and dashboard gauges. They should pay close attention to the functionality of the custom engine management instrumentation. Interior condition reflects the vehicle's bespoke nature. Lister often enhance the luxury with unique leather, trim, and badging. Damage to these unique interior elements, such as Lister embossed seats or specific steering wheel trim, is difficult and expensive to rectify authentically. The quality of the original interior materials is generally high, but years of heat and exposure can cause leather to shrink, wood veneer to crack, and carpets to fade. Restoration costs for the interior must be factored into the purchase price, especially if the goal is concours-level presentation. Driving the Lister XJS V12 is a unique blend of exhilaration and compromise. The massive power delivery is addictive, especially at higher speeds. The car feels stable and planted, largely thanks to the aerodynamic aids and the stiffened suspension. However, at low speeds, the modifications can make the ride harsh compared to the standard XJS. The heavy steering, exacerbated by large, sticky performance tires, can make city driving strenuous. This is a car engineered for high-speed touring and demonstrating capability, not for urban commuting comfort. The low stance and large body kit also make navigating speed bumps and steep driveways a hazardous affair, requiring constant vigilance to avoid scraping expensive and irreplaceable body panels. Maintenance realities dictate that a Lister XJS V12 must be viewed less as a conventional car and more as a vintage race machine slightly domesticated for the road. Maintenance is not optional, it is critical. Oil changes must be frequent, coolant system flushing mandatory, and routine checks of belt tension, hose condition, and fluid levels are paramount. Due to the low-volume nature of the Lister conversions, finding a comprehensive maintenance history is immensely valuable. A car lacking documented specialist care is a massive gamble, suggesting that potentially critical issues have been neglected. Tire costs are exceptionally high. The Lister cars often run on very specific, large-diameter, low-profile tires, which can be challenging to source in period-correct specifications. Furthermore, the high power output and heavy chassis contribute to rapid tire wear. Replacement sets represent a significant recurring expense, ensuring that owners must budget substantial amounts simply for keeping the car safely connected to the road. Financial considerations involve examining both the purchase price and the total cost of ownership. The initial purchase price of a Lister XJS V12 is highly dependent on its provenance, specific engine specification, and condition. Genuine Lister cars with full documentation command a significant premium over standard XJS models. However, the Lister name does not guarantee immediate appreciation. The market for these extreme homologation specials can be volatile, appealing only to a small segment of highly specialized collectors. Potential buyers should secure an accurate valuation from experts familiar with Lister models to avoid overpaying. The cost of ownership is staggering. The combination of low fuel economy, high specialized parts cost, intensive labor rates from necessary specialists, and expensive insurance means that the annual operating budget for a Lister XJS V12 far exceeds that of a typical collector Jaguar. Prospective owners must set aside a significant reserve fund to address unexpected mechanical failures, as a single engine or transmission repair can easily exceed the cost of maintaining several standard collector vehicles. Deferred maintenance will immediately translate into a severe loss of value and potentially non-functional status. Engine specifications merit further deep dive into the technical challenges. The 7-liter conversion typically involved a stroker crankshaft, custom connecting rods, unique high-compression pistons, and extensive work on the cylinder heads to improve airflow. If any of these internal components fail, the sourcing and fabrication work necessary to repair them is extremely specialized. The higher compression ratios demand perfect ignition timing and fuel mapping, meaning any drift in sensor performance or fuel delivery quality can rapidly lead to detonation and engine damage. Buyers must inquire specifically about the exact internal specifications and whether any engine rebuilds were undertaken. The quality of that rebuild is critical to the longevity of the engine. The bespoke intake manifold arrangements, often incorporating large throttle bodies or even potentially fuel injection systems highly modified from standard Jaguar components, are complex. Air leaks in these specialized manifolds are difficult to trace and resolve, leading to poor idle quality or erratic running. Due to the lack of widely available diagnostic information compared to mass-produced cars, fault finding often relies heavily on the intuitive experience of the technician. Emissions control, while perhaps less of a concern for collector vehicles depending on jurisdiction, was often compromised or deleted entirely in the Lister conversion to maximize performance. Buyers should verify local registration requirements, especially if the vehicle is intended for road use in areas with strict environmental regulations. The conversion predates many modern OBD systems, relying instead on specific period electronics that require proprietary testing methods. The body structure of the XJS is heavy, which Lister attempted to offset with power. While the stiffness was adequate for the base car, the immense cornering forces generated by the Lister suspension and tires put stress on the chassis. Checking for chassis alignment and any signs of distortion or previous accident damage is vital, especially because high-speed characteristics are highly sensitive to accurate geometry. An improperly repaired or aligned Lister XJS will handle poorly and potentially unsafely at high velocity. The specific details of the individual car matter more for a Lister than for almost any other vehicle. Documentation is everything. Buyers must demand proof of authenticity from Lister cars or reputable specialists. This typically includes documentation verifying the engine number, chassis number, and the specific conversion package applied. Many standard XJS cars have received aftermarket body kits or performance enhancements that attempt to replicate the Lister look, often referred to as tributes or replicas. While these may be enjoyable, they do not carry the value or prestige of a genuine Lister conversion. Authentication is non-negotiable. Furthermore, the quality of the specific conversion must be assessed. Some conversions were done later in the car's life by third parties using Lister-approved parts, while others were factory executed. The provenance dictates value and potential future reliability. The most desirable cars are those factory-built by Lister or those converted early in their life by highly reputed specialists under strict supervision. Interior ergonomics are typical XJS, meaning comfortable seating suitable for grand touring, but the driving position can feel slightly awkward for modern drivers, especially those accustomed to modern sports cars. The added performance instrumentation, while functional, can sometimes look dated or awkwardly integrated. Depending on the extent of the interior package, the car might feature racing harness attachments or highly bolstered seats, indicating its performance focus. Assessing the functionality of these unique safety features is important. The air conditioning system is another historical weak point of the XJS, often struggling to cope with the heat generated by the V12 engine and the demands of large cabin space. In a Lister, where underhood temperatures are even higher, the efficiency of the air conditioning should be carefully checked. Repairing or updating the AC system often involves significant component replacement and specialized refrigerant handling. For the enthusiast who appreciates mechanical complexity and raw power, the Lister XJS V12 offers a truly engaging driving experience. The sheer presence of the vehicle and the connection to motor racing history provide profound satisfaction. It is a statement car. It is powerful, controversial, and rare. The vehicle represents a fascinating period in automotive history when specialist firms dramatically enhanced existing luxury platforms to create hyper-expensive and ultra-rare performance machines. However, the ownership commitment requires resources far exceeding the purchase price. This is not a car suitable for a casual owner or someone seeking a low-maintenance weekend driver. It demands constant attention, specialized storage, and continuous financial input. The ideal owner is someone with deep pockets, a strong affinity for the Jaguar V12 engine architecture, and established relationships with high-end European performance car specialists capable of working on highly customized, bespoke engines. Buyers should understand that the Lister modifications were designed primarily for speed and excitement, often at the expense of long-term durability and ease of maintenance. Every component operates under greater stress than in the standard XJS, from the brake discs to the differential mounting points. The expectation of trouble-free motoring is unrealistic. The reward is the phenomenal surge of power and the rarity. The cost is the continuous financial and logistical burden of specialized upkeep. In summary, the Lister Jaguar XJS V12 is a thrilling, powerful, and visually stunning machine that stands as a monument to 1980s excess and performance engineering. It offers supercar-level straight-line performance and a handling package far superior to its donor car. It is extremely rare and carries undeniable prestige. Conversely, it suffers from critical vulnerabilities concerning the highly stressed cooling system, complexity of the bespoke 7-liter engine components, poor fuel economy, difficulty in sourcing specialized Lister parts, and the inherent electrical and rust issues of the underlying XJS platform. A prospective purchase must begin with an independent, specialized pre-purchase inspection focusing intensely on engine compression, cooling system integrity, transmission function, and structural corrosion. Only after a meticulous inspection confirming a solid foundation should a buyer proceed. They must have the absolute certainty that they possess the necessary financial resources and the specialist contacts required to keep this legendary beast running optimally for years to come. This vehicle represents the pinnacle of specialized British performance modification, demanding respect, resources, and a dedicated passion for engineering extremism. It is a decision that should be made with absolute clarity regarding the immense challenges that accompany the impressive performance. Furthermore, delve deeper into the specifics of the cooling system overhaul. Lister typically employed massive cross-flow radiators and sometimes incorporated additional heat exchangers for the oil and transmission fluid. The plumbing required for these systems is intricate, utilizing many specialized hoses and connectors. Rubber hoses harden and crack with age, especially when exposed to the higher temperatures of the 7-liter engine bay. A buyer must ensure that all coolant hoses, including heater matrix hoses and those leading to the expansion tanks, have been recently replaced with high-quality silicone alternatives or factory-correct reinforced rubber. A failure of a single hose on the highway could dump the coolant quickly, leading to instantaneous and catastrophic overheating. The water pump itself is subjected to greater rotational stress and thermal load. If the car's history does not show evidence of regular water pump replacement, it must be considered a priority item. Similarly, the health of the viscous fan or electric fan system is critical. Often, Lister cars were fitted with more powerful electric fans to aid in low-speed cooling. The relays and temperature sensors governing these fans are crucial and prone to age-related failure in the XJS. Verifying that the fans activate correctly and efficiently at specified temperatures is a key part of the pre-purchase assessment. Considering the performance enhancements, attention must be paid to the engine mounting points. The V12 engine is already a heavy unit, and the increased torque output puts significant strain on the engine mounts. Worn or broken mounts can lead to excessive engine movement, which can cause further damage to hoses, wiring, and drivetrain components. Replacement mounts should be high quality, designed to handle the Lister specifications, not standard Jaguar components. The fuel delivery system is complex, dealing with the high flow rates required by the 7-liter engine. This involves specialized fuel pumps, usually multiple units, larger diameter fuel lines, and high-flow injectors. The standard XJS fuel tanks are prone to internal rust and sludge accumulation, which can clog the sensitive Lister fuel system components. Inspecting the fuel tank condition, verifying fuel pump output pressure, and ensuring the fuel injectors are clean and balanced by a specialist are necessary steps. Fuel system neglect can cause lean running conditions, which are extremely dangerous for a high compression engine, leading rapidly to piston failure. Regarding the structural integrity again, the Lister modifications often involve fitting wider wheels and tires. This necessitated rolling or flaring the fenders, sometimes using the addition of composite arches. If this bodywork was poorly executed, moisture can become trapped between the original steel and the composite material, accelerating deep structural rust hidden from view. A thorough physical inspection, perhaps utilizing borescope technology into hidden cavities, is recommended to identify localized corrosion where the unique Lister bodywork meets the original Jaguar chassis. The interior unique components demand valuation. If the car retains its original Lister-specific gauges, such as a higher reading speedometer or specialized auxiliary instrumentation, these must be functional and undamaged. Replacement of these bespoke items is almost impossible, requiring highly skilled instrument repair specialists if they malfunction. Similarly, the unique Lister branding on the steering wheel, gear knob, or seat upholstery adds immense value. Authenticity in these details is prized by collectors. Manual transmission Lister XJS V12 cars are extremely rare and command the highest values. The Getrag 5-speed gearbox, while robust, requires specialized fluids and careful clutch maintenance. The clutch components must be heavy-duty, capable of handling the engine's enormous torque output. A weak or improperly adjusted clutch system will result in rapid wear and potential damage to the expensive gearbox internals. Test driving a manual Lister requires careful attention to the clutch engagement point, any slippage under load, and the quality of the shifts across all gears. The automatic transmission variants, usually reinforced GM 4-speed units or similar, are slightly less mechanically stressed but still require heavy-duty clutches and bands. Transmission fluid must be perfectly clean and changed regularly. Overheating the automatic transmission is a common failure mode, especially if the car is driven hard in hot climates. The presence and functionality of an auxiliary transmission cooler are critical elements to inspect. Consider the specific Lister variant. The famous 7-liter engine was the pinnacle, but Lister also performed less extreme tuning on the 5.3 and 6.0-liter V12s, sometimes combined with cosmetic and suspension enhancements. While these variants are less prone to the catastrophic engine issues of the 7-liter, they still carry the specialized parts burden and increased maintenance cost compared to a factory Jaguar. Verification of the exact specification and engine displacement is essential for accurate valuation and setting maintenance expectations. Insurance for a Lister XJS V12 must be handled through specialist classic and performance car insurers. Standard policies often do not adequately cover the bespoke value of the engine modifications or the rarity of the parts. Ensuring that the agreed value policy accurately reflects the substantial investment and modification complexity is crucial to protect the owner against potential total loss scenarios. The unique nature of the car means documentation extends beyond just service receipts. Ideally, the car should retain period road tests, original purchase orders detailing the Lister conversion work, and photographs from its early life. Such comprehensive history adds significant historical value and aids tremendously in authenticating the car's originality and specification. The paint finish on these cars is critical for aesthetic value. As modified cars, the paint often covers both original steel and composite Lister panels. Slight variations in paint aging or fading between the metal and composite areas are common, but large discrepancies or signs of poor blend lines indicate inferior quality repaint work. A paint thickness gauge inspection can reveal multiple layers of paint or body filler, suggesting previous accident repair or extensive cosmetic restoration. Given the car's high-speed capabilities, accident history must be investigated with extreme caution. The exhaust system, often a custom stainless steel setup by Lister, contributes significantly to the vehicle's sonic signature and performance. While stainless steel resists rust, the mounting brackets and hangers can still corrode or fracture due to vibration and heat. Inspect the entire exhaust run for leaks, loose connections, or damage. Replacement of a bespoke Lister exhaust system is extremely costly, potentially involving custom fabrication. For the dedicated collector, the Lister XJS V12 offers a tangible link to a thrilling period of automotive engineering where specialist firms pushed factory limits to new extremes. It represents a fascinating counterpoint to the more mass-produced performance offerings of the era. The sheer drama, both visual and auditory, provided by the Lister makes it a centerpiece in any collection. The reward of successfully owning and maintaining such a complex machine is immense personal satisfaction and the enjoyment of driving one of the fastest and rarest Jaguars ever built. However, the commitment to specialized, expensive maintenance cannot be overstated. Every mile driven in a Lister XJS V12 is accrued with the knowledge that wear and tear on specialized, hard-to-replace components is occurring. This reality shifts the focus of ownership from simple enjoyment to careful preservation and meticulous upkeep. It is a responsibility as much as it is a privilege. The handling characteristics of the Lister are markedly different from the standard XJS. The revised geometry and stiffer suspension settings eliminate much of the body roll and wallow associated with the factory setup. The car feels precise and responsive for its size and age, allowing the driver to utilize the massive power efficiently. However, this rigidity can also expose underlying chassis flaws or weaknesses, especially if the base vehicle suffered from prior neglect. Examine the power steering system closely. The Lister modifications, especially the use of wider tires, put extra strain on the power steering pump and associated pipework. Look for leaks around the pump and the rack, and ensure the steering feel is consistent and free from excessive play or binding throughout the turning radius. A failing power steering system is a common issue on aging XJS models and becomes exacerbated by the performance modifications. Final consideration must be given to the market trajectory. While niche, the demand for authenticated, well-documented, high-horsepower homologation specials from the 1980s and 1990s is generally robust. A pristine, low-mileage, fully authenticated Lister XJS V12 is likely to retain or appreciate its value over the long term. However, project cars are examples with compromised provenance and deferred maintenance will likely suffer heavily discounted valuations and prove exceptionally difficult to sell. The cost of restoration often outweighs the potential finished value, making the purchase of a high-quality example the most financially prudent choice. The Lister XJS V12 is an automobile where quality of preservation trumps everything else, demanding that buyers prioritize condition and history above all else in their search for this spectacular, yet profoundly challenging, machine. The depth of engineering involved is astounding, but the cost of maintaining that engineering genius is equally staggering. Buyers must be prepared for the highest level of commitment to specialist automotive care. The hydraulic brake booster system, a feature on many XJS models, deserves specific attention. It operates under high pressure and is integral to the brake function. Failures in this system can be complex and expensive to repair, given the specialization of the high-performance brake components Lister installed. Ensure that the brake pedal feel is firm and consistent, without excessive travel or sponginess. Any pulsation or vibration during braking suggests potential warping of the large, specialized brake rotors. Replacement of these Lister-specific rotors will involve considerable expense. The wiring harness condition is a pervasive issue. The XJS wiring harnesses are known to become brittle, especially in the engine bay and under the dashboard, leading to shorts and intermittent electrical faults. A visual inspection should reveal whether the harnesses appear original or have been replaced or repaired. Poorly executed electrical repairs can introduce significant complexity and fire hazards. In a vehicle where the engine management system is highly customized, perfect electrical integrity is non-negotiable for reliable operation. The fuel tank venting system in the XJS is often overlooked but critical. Blockages can lead to vacuum formation, causing fuel starvation under load. Given the massive fuel demands of the 7-liter engine, this system must be perfectly functional. Similarly, the car's vapor recovery system should be inspected, though often modified or deleted on performance versions. For the meticulous buyer, obtaining oil analysis reports from the engine's recent use can provide valuable insight into the health of the internal components. High levels of specific metals in the oil can indicate premature wear on bearings, piston rings, or specialized camshafts. This level of due diligence is necessary before investing in an engine of this complexity and cost. The aesthetics of the Lister are polarizing. While some appreciate the aggressive, winged look, others prefer the classic elegance of the standard XJS. Buyers should be certain they appreciate the dramatic modifications, as the cost to revert the car to a standard appearance would be prohibitive. The Lister represents a definitive statement, embracing high-speed aerodynamic optimization fully. Furthermore, the cooling concerns extend specifically to the air intake temperature management. The high-performance engine benefits immensely from cool, dense air. Lister systems often incorporated revised airboxes or ram air intakes. Ensuring these elements are intact and correctly sealed to prevent the ingestion of hot engine bay air is crucial for maximizing the engine's immense output. The specific Lister badge engineering and identification plates are vital for authenticity. These usually detail the conversion number and date, and they should correspond exactly with documented records. Any discrepancy necessitates further investigation into the car's history and conversion lineage. The maintenance schedule for valve clearance checks on the V12 engine is complex and expensive. The Lister modifications might alter these requirements, meaning specialists must adhere to the specific Lister service manual. Skipping these routine but involved adjustments can lead to poor performance and potentially damaging valve train wear. Finally, consider the sheer physical size of the vehicle. The Lister XJS V12 is a large, wide coupe, requiring generous garage space and careful maneuvering in tight urban environments. Its dimensions, combined with the low-profile body kit, make it less practical for daily use than almost any modern sports coupe. It is a dedicated weapon for high-speed journeys and collector display, requiring acceptance of the inherent compromises its size and specialization impose upon the driver. The ultimate reward remains the unparalleled driving sensation derived from mastering this rare, high-strung performance icon. This feeling is reserved only for those who are prepared for the intensive commitment it demands. The depth of this commitment defines Lister XJS V12 ownership, distinguishing it fundamentally from standard classic car stewardship.